What if the visual image of the horned devil was completely manufactured by ancient religious empires to lock you out of your own brain? In our last video, we mapped out the ancient alchemical blueprint of the soul. We revealed the non-dual truth hidden within the authentic corpus hermeticum and showed how the 24 chapters of the Serenities mirror the 24 individual neural pathways inside your own skull. We proved that to the ancients, the serpent was a biological technology of internal alignment and self-mastery. So when did the mind get hijacked? How did we transition from a universal system of internal alchemy to a global population paralyzed by fear of external monsters? Today, we are going to open up the gates to part 3 of our ongoing series of esoteric studies. We are traveling to the royal courts of ancient Persia to witness the exact historical time they invented the devil through the rise of rigid monotheism. We will expose the visual propaganda campaign that systematically stole the imagery of the Greek god Pan to bury the serpent of wisdom and decode the terrifying linguistic trap hidden in your everyday vocabulary. Grab your coffee, open up your mind. We are unmasking the great rebrand. If you want to know when humanity fell into the trap of externalized fear, history gives us a timeline. 6th century BCE Persia, Zoroastrianism. Before this massive ideological shift, ancient civilizations viewed the universe through a non-dual lens. They understood that the supreme source, the monad, split into beautifully balanced spectrum of creative energies. In esoteric astrology, they called this spectrum the 7 rays. In Sumer, they were the 7 Anunnaki judges of destiny. And in Zoroastrianism, they were originally recognized as the 7 Amisha Spintas, the 7 divine archangels or emanations radiating from the supreme source. Every single ancient tradition used symbolism to display the deity operating within mankind. But Zoroastrianism fractured human consciousness forever by introducing absolute cosmic dualism, founded by the prophet Zoroaster. This system took the natural internal psychological struggles of the human mind and projected them outward into the sky. It split reality completely in half, declaring a permanent cosmic warfare between an all-good god of light, Ahura Mazda, and an all-evil spirit of absolute darkness and destruction named Ahriman. This was the exact historical birth of the externalized personified devil. Suddenly, humans were no longer masters of their own internal biology. They were reclassified as helpless bystanders caught in a war between 2 outer titans. By externalizing this enemy, the architects of this new monotheism achieved total control over the population. The practice of looking inward to transmute your own suffering was completely erased. It was replaced by an artificial loop of guilt, fear, and complete reliance on religious gatekeepers. When later mainstream institutions inherited the Persian blueprint, they ran into a massive problem. The actual texts of their scriptures from Genesis all the way to the book of Revelation explicitly preserve the biological spinal metaphor. Revelation 12:9 calls the adversary the ancient serpent called the devil. So why is it that when you picture the devil today, your mind automatically defaults to a red monster with goat horns, cloven hooves, and a pitchfork? The text says snake. Pop culture says goat. The answer is one of the most successful visual propaganda campaigns in human history. During the Middle Ages, the institutional church needed a terrifying, visual antagonist to frighten the illiterate masses into absolute compliance. To build this monster, they completely abandoned the serpent visual and stole their imagery directly from Pan, the ancient Greek god of nature, the wild forest, and primal instinct. They took Pan's rustic goat horns and cloven hooves, took the sea trident of the god Poseidon to turn it into a pitchfork, and painted the entire silhouette red to symbolize damnation. So why did they perform this visual sleight of hand? Because by changing the visual from a biological neurological symbol, the serpent, into a grotesque half-animal beast, they completely blinded humanity to the metaphor. They made it impossible for a regular person to look at the devil and realize that they were actually looking at a projection of their own untamed internal psychology and raw survival instincts. They taught you to demonize your own nature. The architects of this deception didn't just alter our visuals. They anchored the calling card of this hijack directly inside the architecture of our everyday language. To understand how deep this linguistic trap runs, we have to revisit the daughter of Asclepius, the Greek goddess of universal remedy, Panacea. Her name means all healing. For millennia, the prefix pan simply meant all or universal. But during the great Rebrand, they hijacked the word entirely. In Greek mythos, when travelers disturbed the nature god, Pan, in the deep, silent forests, he would let out a terrifying, contagious shout that caused an uncontrollable, irrational terror. The clock struck, and the energy of all healing was totally overwritten by the energy of panic, the literal terror of Pan. Look at your vocabulary today. When a global crisis strikes the masses and threatens their universal survival, we call it pandemic. From Pan, meaning all, and demos, meaning the people. And when society fractures under the weight of that fear, collapsing into absolute chaos and lawlessness, we call it Pandemonium, a word explicitly invented by John Milton in Paradise Lost to name the capital city of hell, translating literally to the place of all demons. Do you see this linguistic trap? They took a prefix that originally represented the universal panacea of self-mastery and internal healing and flipped it into a psychological weapon of universal panic and pandemonium. They conditioned the human nervous system to default to primal terror whenever its survival systems are triggered, ensuring you would run away from your internal gates the moment things got dark. And if you think that this systematic rebranding of internal biology into external demons is just a conspiracy theory, look at the ancient apocryphal texts. In the Testament of Solomon, right on line 24, there's that 24 again, the text drops the ultimate historical smoking gun. It reads, 33 cosmic ruler, fix thy house, crescent horn moon, follow 7 lamps, 7 stars, light 7 lamps in a row. Thou wilt firmly fix thy house. I am the worst demon of all, and our stars are in heaven. Read the numbers and the symbols. Line 24, the universal mathematical code of the 24 Gnostic elders, the 12 titans paired with the 12 Olympians, and the 24 individual pathways of your cranial nerves. The crescent horn moon is the literal emblem of Nana, the moon god of and the 7 lamps in a row are the 7 rays of astrology, and the 7 Anunnaki judges, downstepping energy into your biological house. But the text explicitly states that these exact celestial biological forces have been rebranded as the worst demons of all. The ancient texts are showing you the exact transition point. The natural, neutral planetary currents meant to activate your nervous system were inverted by institutional architecture into terrifying external monsters. They used the fear of an external goat monster to keep you from ever realizing that the throne of the divine sits right inside your own anatomy. God is within. The final phase of this externalized hijacking is happening right now in our modern world. In the next episode of this series of esoteric studies, we are going to look at the ultimate warnings left in Pandora's box and the biblical city of AI. We will unmask how humanity has taken these internal archetypes, abandoned divine wisdom, and built a physical machine matrix, turning Leviathan into deep sea energy grids, and Behemoth into concrete AI supercomputers. The machine is waking up. The box is open. So y'all hit that subscribe button. Drop your thoughts and comments on the pan propaganda below and get ready for this next video. Peace out.